Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me. I wanted to do a little something different on today's podcast because today is kind of a cool, well, this whole episode really just a little something different because this week I am launching my newest project, Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, Become the Woman You Are Destined to Be. My newest book that I've been working on this year. So excited about it. And this has been a project in the works for, I really wanted to write this book for, probably a year and a half. And I kept putting it off until this year. And just, we've been very busy with traveling and speaking and all the other projects. And so it just wasn't the right time to actually sit down and write this book. And about probably the first couple of days of March, I told somebody, I said, I've been using our travel schedule and speaking as an excuse to not accomplish what I wanted to do, which is write this book. And I said, I'm not gonna use that as an excuse anymore. I'm just gonna figure out a way to do it. If I have to take my laptop and write a chapter from a hotel room tonight, and just figure out a way to make it do it, to make me be able to do it. And then the pandemic hit. And so obviously traveling and speaking, all that's pretty much come to a stop. And so Mac and I have been home for quite a few weeks now, and I think I've shared that with you already. And it was just the perfect time. I'd already had this book on my heart and thinking about it, and it just came together in a way that I could make really great use of all this extra time at home here lately. So, but all that to say, I really, this book and the message in this book has been on my heart for some time. It's just really been kind of a back of my mind concept for a while. But the reason is because, like most of our books these days, it's 30 chapters, 3-page chapters, and each chapter is, a point or a concept around the subject of becoming the woman you are destined to be. And when I think about that, this is the stuff that I talk about already. I've just actually never sat down and put it all together in a book like this. And so I think that's one reason I'm so passionate about it. I'm so excited about it, is because these are the topics that I teach anyway. These are the topics that are on my heart. They resonate because I see so many women who struggle with the issues that are in this book. And so that's what gets me excited, is being able to put the insight and the lessons that I've learned over the years and being able to put that in a book or in a lesson that someone else can read and learn from and benefit from, because that's the whole point, is being able to help somebody else, right? It's not enough for us to just be successful in our own right, although that's great, but become significant in the life of someone else means helping someone else achieve the same things that we've learned to achieve, right? Sharing our knowledge and our insight with others. And that's why I do what I do. So anyway, very excited about this book releasing this week. The pre-order should be shipping out. I know quite a few of you have pre-ordered. I have a stack here of pre-orders I'm sitting here looking at. So those should be shipping out this week. And yeah, it's exciting to launch this project because it just has been on my heart for so long. And there's just, I think, particularly now, in even maybe more especially in a pandemic and with all of the things that are going on, I think now more than ever, women need encouragement, and everyone needs encouragement, not just women, but I think we all need encouragement. I think we all need something positive and uplifting. And I think we all need just real tools that can help us actually improve our lives, our circumstances, and where we are and where we want to be. Right? I've shared with you before the quote from Michael Josephson, "You don't have to be sick to get better," is what he says. There's nothing wrong with any of us, but we don't have to be sick to get better. But I know that you want more out of life. I know you do, or you wouldn't be listening to a podcast on personal growth and leadership. So, as I wrote this book, I thought about what I wanted to say. I thought about what I could say that would make a difference for you and to you and in you. And then I wondered, is it crazy to think that my words, typed up on my Mac computer here in my home office and then edited by my husband on the other side of the house, can those words actually help you change your life and your world for the better? And I came to the conclusion that no, it's not crazy to think that, because I know something about you. I know you are destined to be more, and you can become more, and you should become more, because the world needs you to become your version, the best version of yourself. But you notice that I said help you change your life and your world, not change your life and your world, because I can't do it for you. This book isn't a book about what you should do differently in order to achieve your goals. I mean, I talk about goals a lot, and we've got entire episodes dedicated to achieving goals, and those are good things. But this book isn't about what you should do differently in order to reach your goals, and it's about how to be differently and in order to accomplish those things, or maybe I should say how to become. But you got to do the work. And it will be work. There's just no other way to say it. It's going to be, it takes work to reach your potential in life. You've probably heard the cliche that says if it were easy, everybody would do it, right? It's not easy. It will be work. Becoming the best version of you, even there's nothing wrong with you and you're not sick, but you don't have to be sick to get better. But becoming the best version of you, whatever that looks like, is really personal transformation. It's transforming from who you are now into who you have potential to become. So I dedicated the early chapters of this book to developing your mindset, and I think that's why it's even more relevant during these times in this crazy 2020 that we've had so far. I mean, we're halfway through the year, and we couldn't have even imagined or predicted that all of the things that have already happened this year would happen. So I think that's why mindset is just so critical, because developing our mindset allows us to deal with the challenges. And I know we're all going through challenges. We're all going through struggles. Life is just hard, and it's not fair, and it's not always what we want it to be. And that's why it's so critical to develop our mindset. So that's why in this book, I really focus on developing the mindset, especially in the early chapters. And then I talk about the 7 elements of transformation, and I've shared with you those in an earlier podcast. So if that interests you, go back and find that episode. It's several episodes ago probably, and or the book. You can order the book. It's available now on Amazon, or you can find it on my website, of course. So, and I'm kind of sharing with you my thoughts and concepts from the introduction of this book. And because, as I sat down to write it, I thought, the first thing I have to say is that it's not going to be easy, but it is possible. Because what I know is you can transform yourself into who you have potential to be. Those dreams inside of you are there because you have potential to achieve them, or they wouldn't be there. But it does take personal growth and transformation. Now, I know it's possible because I've done it and I'm still doing it. It's not a one and done deal, right? It's a lifelong journey that is our greatest fulfillment to travel. It's absolutely worth the work now. And I always tell people, I'm like, it is work to achieve what you want and become who you are destined to be, but it's absolutely worth it, because here's the thing: as we become more and more of who we have potential to be, we realize that it increases our influence with other people. Now, whether you're, a CEO of a huge global organization or just a stay-at-home mom who feels like you don't have influence, you need to be able to influence other people, right? It's the essence of leadership. Women are major influences in the lives of their spouses and their children and their family members and co-workers and communities and the world. But we must intentionally develop ourselves in order to develop and increase our influence. And so when you think about it from that perspective, it doesn't matter whether you consider yourself just a stay-at-home mom, right? There's no such thing. You have just as much influence as the CEO of a global organization. It's different influence and it's different people, but we all need influence. We all have some influence, but we all need and want more of it. Now, it's just a fact. Your journey is going to be different than mine because I'm not the expert in your life. But relative to the human experience, what's most personal for each of us is most relevant for all of us. And I think that's why when I share, like my story and my books and this book, and when I share what's most personal for me, I know it's relevant for most of us. I know that because I talk to so many women who struggle with some of these issues, and I know that that's a challenge. I've just seen it over and over and over again. And when I think about it, I've spent my whole life preparing to write this book, even though it wasn't really a concept until about 1.5 years ago. And a lot of the lessons that I share in this book are lessons I learned the hard way, mistakes that I made, setbacks, dealing with trauma and adversity and overcoming obstacles and problems. But I've also learned a lot of my lessons through achievements and wins and victories and triumphs. And all the reading that I do has allowed me to learn from the failure and success of others, which is also really important because then I can share lessons that I've learned from other people. And, as I share these lessons and I teach and travel and speak, I always feel like, a lot of times I feel like I get much more than I give. And, that's why it's such a blessing to be able to do what I do. I want, in this book, I really want to share with you how I transformed. How did I transform from that broken and ashamed 19-year-old girl who'd suffered just extreme sexual abuse since age 12 by my father and in trafficking me in later years with others? And how did I transform from that 19-year-old girl who chose to escape and leave that abusive home without much more than a couple duffel bags and a pillowcase with some clothes? And then how did I transform from that into the speaker and author and leadership trainer that I am today? That didn't happen by accident, right? It didn't happen by accident. It didn't happen quickly either. And my story isn't your story, but I guarantee you the principles that are found in the lessons I've learned can help you and the challenges that you are facing today. How did I transform myself from being that timid waitress working at Pizza Hut, making $2.13 an hour plus some tips, to earning my MBA with a 4.0 GPA and going on to have a successful career in a healthcare organization? And that part of my journey taught me a lot about personal and professional success. How did I transform from being an insecure girl who just desperately depended on approval from others to becoming a confident entrepreneur who teaches and speaks on leadership and resilience and personal growth, right? That taught me about personal and professional achievement. How did I transform from being a body-shamed teenager who used food to cope with daily sexual abuse to becoming strong and healthy and, happily married woman who can run 26 miles in a marathon? That taught me about mindset. And so when you think about that, I look back at my journey. I look back at the journey of transformation from going from a small town sex trafficking victim in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, who spoke to almost no one, to becoming a motivational leadership speaker. And you guys, I've spoken at Yale University. I've privileged to speak on a TEDx stage. This year I spoke at the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. And this part of my journey provided me with a lot of lessons on intentional growth because it didn't happen by accident. And I don't share all of that to brag or to try to impress you. I want to impress on you that transformation is possible. If I can do it, anyone can do it, right? Whatever. And I don't know you, but I know you want more for yourself. And whatever you want, those dreams you have of more, they're possible. That's why they're yours. And I've learned it's possible for all of us to get better. I've learned how to help you increase your influence and develop your leadership, and how to help you become the woman and leader you are destined to be. That's the whole concept of this book and this podcast and what my message is. And it's not because I'm special. It's because you are. It's because you are. The whole concept of fearfully and wonderfully me is based off that favorite Bible verse that says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And fearfully in this context means awesome. So think about that. You are awesomely made, awesomely created, and purposed for something. And I think we have to grab that and hold on to that with both hands, because a lot of us struggle with that. We struggle with, well, who am I to be this person who dreams of more? Who am I to dream of having more influence with my teenagers, or starting my own business and having an income from what I love to do? Or who am I to dream of walking away from a job that I don't enjoy to finding a career that fulfills me, right? You are that person because you are capable of becoming that person, right? It's already there. We just have to put the work in, develop ourselves, and move toward growth. Because when we do that, the goals just are a natural byproduct, right? We just achieve goals automatically because we become the person who is capable of achieving them. And that's why it makes it so possible. So anyway, I'm just rambling, but I just get so excited about that, because I know a lot of us really struggle with, is this really possible? We all want more out of life, but I think a lot of us may not believe that it's really possible. And so it's much easier to let those dreams die because we don't just really truly believe it. And you got to believe it. I can't do that for you. I can't do the work for you, but I can't believe it for you and replace your own belief. But I believe in you. And so you might not believe it yet yourself, but you can borrow my belief. And that's okay. That's all you need to get started is just look at my journey and say, well, gosh, if she can go from that to this, then whatever you want, you can start to grow towards too. It does take time. It does take work, but it is possible. So I like to say, belief drives behavior, right? We believe it for ourselves, we can start to achieve it. Now, sure, there are things that aren't possible, but here's the thing. If you don't believe it's possible for yourself, you won't work to achieve it because you won't put the work in. So belief drives behavior. And our potential is realized one choice at a time. Think about that. Potential is realized one choice at a time. That means, we're always, throughout the day, throughout our lives, throughout every moment, day, month, year, we're all making choices. And our potential is realized just one choice at a time. It's that simple. It's that easy. Well, maybe not easy. It is that simple. But it's not easy, right? Because it's always keeping our long-term growth and goals in mind. And sure, that's tough to do every time. We're not always going to get it right. But we don't have to always get it right. We just have to get it right the majority of the time. And that's okay. It's not about being perfect. We are perfectly imperfect. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to get sidetracked, and that's okay. We just get back on track and get back to the becoming, who we are created to be. So that's really my heart and my passion. That's why I get so excited about this book. And I've kind of just shared some thoughts with you here that I share in the introduction of this book. And, because my message isn't for everybody, and I realize that. There are some people who just aren't interested in growth, and that's okay. Those aren't the people that I'm talking to. I'm talking to you because I know you want to grow, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. I know you want more out of life, and it's always just such a privilege to be able to share with you some ideas and some thoughts on how you can achieve that for yourself. Because if I've done it, anyone can do it. And I've said that a couple times, but I keep repeating it because I think that's a foundational belief, is you've got to believe if she can do that and become who she is now, then I can do what I'm dreaming about. And I know you are dreaming. I think it's time to wrap up. Those are just some really good thoughts, and I think I like to just end with that. Belief drives behavior, and our potential is realized one choice at a time. Until next time.
Start increasing your influence and maximizing your potential with Ria's audiobooks. Available at audible.com, amazon.com, and iBooks. Please visit riastory.com to learn about Ria's books, resources, speaking, and training programs. Thanks for listening.